Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Hate Week as the 7-1 Philadelphia Eagles host the 5-2 Dallas Cowboys in their first meeting of the 2023 season. The Eagles coming off the most Eagles win against the Commanders of all time because that's just how they play against the Commanders, and the Dallas Cowboys coming off a commanding victory at home against the Rams. It's time finally, Aidan, for these two NFC East rivals who are fighting for this division to play each other, and you and me face off against each other in what probably won't be a very arguing episode because we just don't argue. We'll probably agree on a lot of facts about each other's teams, and then we'll be all hunky-dory, and I'll see you on Sunday. How are you?
I'm fine. I tweeted this out before the show, but if the Phillies would have won the World Series the same time as the Rangers, we would have gotten a parade and an Eagles Cowboys home game in the same weekend with 60 plus degree weather in November. So I'm as good as I could be. I'll never feel ever again. I'll never have emotion or feeling towards anything in life, but I'm here. Also, very funny you mentioned that. I was telling somebody yesterday, I was like, yeah, it was supposed to be a debate show, but then we just liked each other. So we never argue or debate.
And it's very uncommon to have two people of like almost sane playing field and understanding of the game where it's like we don't have to make up fake topics. And I think that's kind of the new angle of our show. If you just want like yelling for no reason, go watch Joy Taylor or whatever the hell her name is and First Fake and all that bullshit. We're here to actually talk about football, talk about the Cowboys, talk about the Eagles, talk about the NFCs, talk about the NFL in general, and have understanding conversation while also hating each other. But my one ask, you mentioned the Texas Rangers. They win the World Series against the Arizona Diamondbacks.
Slippery slope already.
They will be having their parade on Friday.
Okay.
My only ask to the Texas Rangers organization, because I saw the parade route and it's like around the stadiums and stuff. It's not really like going into a city. And it could lose. Please just like circle around AT&T Stadium, just giving the double middle fingers to Jerry Jones so they can see what a championship looks like.
Yeah.
Like, yep, this is what it looks like. And I hope that even though it is Cowboys Eagles week, cancel on Jerry Jones, cancel on Mike McCarthy, cancel on Stephen Jones on the radio. Just put them in the back burner. Talk all about the Rangers, nothing about the Cowboys, and just show them what irrelevance feels like, because that is the only way things are going to change for the Dallas Cowboys in terms of the front office as we come off a trade deadline where they did nothing. And I don't want to hear they made their moves in the offseason. They went and got Stephon Gilmore and Brandon Cook. Brandon Cook's actually like 105 yards this year, okay? If you're going to use the moves that you made, but also because you made moves 6 months ago,
doesn't mean you can't still upgrade your team in the middle of the season.
Perfect example, the Texas Rangers, who spent a lot of money in the offseason and then upgraded their roster at the trade deadline to win a World Series. So this is actually a great point because it shows that winning matters and winning creates relevancy. And I think the Cowboys get off on being relevant at all times. And they're like, well, look, we're important, even though they're not winning. Be like, all right, listen, we're going to focus on the Rangers. That's actually not a bad idea to be like, media-wise, we're pushing Rangers nonstop.
That's all we're doing.
We're pushing winners around here.
Yep.
Not a bad plan.
And if you think, like, since the Dallas Cowboys last reached the NFC Championship game 30 years ago, the Rangers now have won a World Series and have been to the World Series and have been to multiple AL Championship Series. Yeah. The Stars, I believe, have won a championship and have been to multiple Stanley Cups.
Yeah.
The Mavericks have won a championship and have been to multiple Western Conference Finals. In that entire time, the Cowboys have not even made it to an NFC Championship game. So they should be irrelevant in DFW.
That's this is a perfect segue into the game, into the trade deadline and everything like that. So the Eagles obviously made the trade last week for Kevin Byard at safety. Chase Young goes to the 49ers, which is just like a stellar move. And then Leonard Williams goes to the Seahawks. So everybody got a new piece, a new toy, except the Cowboys. And it reminded me of that video. Vince is here, so he'll love this because he loves this show. It was like, I'm doing my part. I'm doing my part. I'm doing my part. I didn't do fucking shit.
You know what could have even been a move that I would have been super happy with is the guard, Cleveland, who played for the Vikings, who
Yep.
is having an outstanding season, went to the Jaguars for a 6th-round pick. You are having offensive line issues, right? Tyron Smith hurt again. Chuma Adoga played at left tackle. He got hurt. We don't know hit. If you go get Cleveland for a 6th-round pick, plug him in at guard, and then you can push your outstanding second-year player in Tyler Smith back out to left tackle where he played last season, it is a completely different offensive line because then you're not being held hostage every week. Is Tyron Smith playing? Is Tyron? Guess what? Tyron becomes a swing tackle because that's all he is now at this point of his career. And you have Tyler Smith, your future left tackle, out there. You have a new outstanding guard, playing guard, and everybody else is set with Biotish, Steele, and Martin. For a 6th-round pick. What are we doing?
That is a perfect example, and it is a perfect segue into the matchup itself this weekend. Let's start here. Tyron Smith, will he play? Will he not? Jalen Carter, full practice yesterday. He'll play. And Josh Sweat has better stats than Michael Parsons this year. So let's get into it. That seems like a good place to start in this game.
Great question. I don't know. It looked like he was going to play last week. This is the funny part. I see a tweet come out a couple hours before the game. I think it was Ed Warder. He's like, as per usual, when he plays, Tyron Smith, first one out on the field for warmups. And there's a picture of him running out there. And then literally an hour later, Tyron Smith, no go for this game. I'm like, what just happened?
Maybe he's warming up too hard.
So you don't know. I mean, that's already 3 games a season that he's missed. He always misses a minimum of 5 to 6. It's time. I'm a rip the Band-Aid guy. It's over. I am so sick and tired of being held hostage by a left tackle, right? And this team seem to be doing better in terms of when he doesn't play, of being held hostage. I know this is the funny part. I don't know if you watched much of the Cowboys-Rams game or saw any highlights.
Oh, they interrupted the Eagles-Commanders game about every 30 seconds with a new Rams turnover that turned into Cowboys points.
That was
like
the funny
only
part.
game that they highlighted during the Eagles game.
I was watching the game in my office because I had work to do, and I had Red Zone on my TV, and I had to legally stream the Cowboys game because I live in this shithole watching the Eagles, and I had it on my computer, and my wife was watching the Eagles game in the family room, and I went to go get a drink or something. I was like, I feel like they haven't showed the Eagles game one time on Red Zone. She's like, yeah, because nothing's happening. I'm like,
yeah, well, every time we got to the red zone, we fumbled the football, so there wasn't much to see.
I know about that. But my point here with the offensive line is it started out horrendously. Dak got sacked on 3 straight plays to start the game. 1 didn't count because of a penalty. And I was like, oh, it's going to be this type of game. And Chuma Adoga looked like he was not going to block any. I could get past him in this game. But then they adjusted, and it became the best pass blocking statistical game that the offensive line had all season after giving up 3 straight sacks to start the game. So those are the type of things that I'm happy with. You can see that they make adjustments. And the Rams defensive line is no joke. I mean, it's not the Eagles defensive line, but I mean, they can get pressure on you. They can get sacks. Aaron Donald coming up the middle.
They've got a guy.
So I was happy with that, but I mean, it's a completely different ballgame. We can throw injuries out the window, records out the window, how you played last week, how we played last week. It means nothing once the ball's kicked off at Lincoln Financial Field at 4 o'clock on Sunday, because it is just 2 teams that don't like each other that are going for a division title. So it's no holds, but it's a cage match. It's whoever gets thrown off the top of the cage and breaks their back is going to lose.
Okay, that's a great preview. That'll be our promo. I've got 2 things, but one of them is like a larger thing, so I'll save that. The offensive line thing for the Cowboys and the Eagles defensive line picking up steam. Hassan Reddick, healthy, is just dominating. I just mentioned Josh Sweat. Look at the numbers. Better than Micah Parsons and Jalen Carter and Fletcher Cox, obviously. You have mentioned on multiple shows that Tony Pollard just isn't getting going. He didn't last week, but I feel like that was more of like they didn't need to do it, right? So the Eagles
are terrified about running against this defensive line.
I was going to say that. What if you just abandoned the run game this entire game and just went old school Big 12 shootout style and just was like, all right, I'm going to test and see if we move CeeDee Lamb around, if he gets stuck on Eli Ricks. Are these safeties who are back and playing together for the first time? Like, Can we?
Speaking of, I saw Elliot Shore Parks tweeting about putting Eli Ricks on CeeDee Lamb this week and like proactively doing it because he has CB1 potential. Vince, if you could, and hey, this shows it's a big week. Vince is actually here.
I was gonna
everybody,
say
in the background. Welcome back, Vince.
you want to know it's a big game? This is like college game day showing up in your town. Vince is in the background for
Vince
this
is in the
show.
background. We haven't had Vince in the background in a year. So he tweeted about, I think, proactively putting Eli Ricks on CeeDee Lamb because he has, quote, CB1 potential. Okay, give me all the potential in the world. I'm all day, please. Put the rookie on CeeDee Lamb.
Listen, it'll happen at some point in that game. I think the actual conversation point, and our guy Morgan from PSN brought this up, was putting Darius Slay on him and just be like, this is our one shot to cover him, just let him shadow. But he was like, it probably won't work and it will just throw things off. And they move CeeDee Lamb around so much that it'll just end up creating more messes than the problem or the solution to the problem, which is just putting Slay on Lamb the entire time. So I don't think that'll happen. So at some point you'll end up with Eli Ricks on him. The pass defense for the Eagles, like Sam Howell last week looked awesome. He had 2 incompletions in the first half. One of them was a deep shot that he just missed because he got hit when he threw. So that would have been a touchdown or at least a 40-yard completion. If I'm the Cowboys, I'm like, I'm not even going to attempt the run. I am just going to line up in shotgun, get the ball out of Dak's hands, throw it around the yard, and who cares? You know, like if you lose this game, you're 2.5 games back. Might as well, just go for it.
And I agree with that completely because also, let's say you stick to the quote unquote run game, even though that's not really what it's looked like to me, and they continue to do it on first down and second down. If you are in, and you've said this all season against other teams, but I think especially in this game, if the Cowboys are in 3rd and 9, 2nd and 12, 3rd and 10 consistently, that is when Sweat, Reddick, Cart, they're going to eat. And you can't be in those positions. You have to stay ahead of the chains in this game. And I think the way you do that is throwing the ball. Oh,
here's the tweet. Eli Ricks for CeeDee Lamb on Sunday night will be a very interesting matchup if it happens. Ricks has CB1 potential. I do, in fairness, I do think it will happen. Whether they want it to happen or not, yet to be seen. He has been good so far this season, but we'll see.
But, I mean, sure. But, so consistently using the run game on early downs, I think is going to hurt this team and is going to feed right into what the Eagles want to do, and that's getting pass rush and just creating sacks, which will create turnovers, which will create havoc, and then short fields for the Eagles offense, which is a nightmare, especially at the link.
So the Commanders seem to be the only team so far that have figured this out, which is to throw it on first down and just get it to your playmakers early and downs. Everybody else is just like trying to establish the run game. And then you're in 2nd and 12 and you're like, all right, well, now what do we do? The Commanders, like they made it a point of emphasis to like get the ball out of Sam Howell's hands. One, because they were giving up they're going to break the sack record in a bad way. I want the Eagles to break a sack record in a good way. The Commanders are going to break it in a bad way. And they're just getting the ball out of his hands early, passing on first down, like getting it to McLaurin. Jahan Dotson, who's been a ghost, had close to 100 yards receiving last week. And it was just a matter of like getting them the ball early and downs. If I'm the Cowboys, I'm replicating that as best I can.
And the way I want to replicate that this week is Michael Gallup on the bench as much as possible. Tolbert on the bench as much as possible. And I want nothing but speed against this back end of the Philadelphia Eagles. I want CeeDee Lamb, Turpin, Brandon Cooks, and Pollard in the slot. Give me nothing but speed, speed, speed. And then that is how I think you should attack this back end of the Eagles. Because if Turpin's running double moves, you have CeeDee Lamb being locked up by Eli Ricks, apparently. You have a plethora of options speed-wise to go against the back end of the Philadelphia Eagles that will hopefully relegate. Is that the word I want? Relegate? No.
I make up words all the time, so I
like relegate. I don't know. Just stop the Philadelphia Eagles pass rush as much as possible by getting the ball out fast because they're beating their man fast with speed.
The word we were looking for is negate.
Negate.
I think I what was it? Neglect?
Nelegate? I think I put what is the word we just said again? Negate and relegate together
Yeah.
and form debate.
Birds versus boys is actually the biggest rivalry on this show is us knowing words in the Webster.
Birds
It's us
versus
versus
boys
the
versus
Webster's
words.
dictionary. Yeah. Birds versus boys versus the Webster's dictionary.
We don't do great with that. So
Yeah.
I want to use that that system that you're talking about of just passing on first down, but I want to do it with speed. I think this needs to be a Brandon Cooks game.
It'd be nice if you got a Brandon Cooks game.
Hey, back-to-back games of touchdowns.
Okay. Sure.
And I like his little arrow thing. Cool.
You gonna do that on?
I like
stream?
cool things. I like when we don't usually have like cool things. Like you guys are cool. Like we have Dak but that's about it.
That's about it.
But I think it's sprinkling in the running game at times. But I think a lot of that needs to be Dak. I think Dak needs to use his legs again in this game. We've seen that the last couple of weeks where he's started to bring his legs back into the game. It's such a threat. Now, he does not have the speed or the mobility that he had 2016, 2017. It's a different running style, but just the threat of it will also try and negate the pass rush from the Eagles.
We should just say negate as much as possible for the rest of the show. I think it's also not just using your legs for yards, but extending plays and making the secondary who's struggled this year to cover longer and see how that goes. So I think he will have to use that just because sometimes the pressure gets on you, but also that makes it break contain up front. So that I think could be potentially pretty good for the Cowboys. And also, while we're talking about Dak, let's just touch on this for 1 second. We're getting Jalen Hurts and Dak Prescott against each other. Like we didn't even get that last year. We're finally getting this in a game that matters. This is pretty much like for the division. I don't want to say on the line, but if the Eagles are 8-1, the Cowboys are 5-3, and they have a 2.5 game lead going into their bye, it's kind of the division. So this is awesome that we're getting this matchup mano a mano finally.
And we're finally getting this matchup with one quarterback having the 27th most turnover-worthy plays in the NFL and the other having the 11th most turnover-worthy plays in the NFL this season. Do you know who is who?
I'm assuming just based on the timeline of Cowboys Twitter is 27th is Jalen Hurts, right?
No, 27th is Dak.
Oh, well, Jalen Hurts.
That's a good thing for Dak. He's ranked 27th, which means you want to be ranked further in the back of turnover-worthy plays. So he's had the 27th least.
You see how that's confusing though? Like you want to be
Jalen Hurts has the 11th most turnover-worthy plays in the NFL.
That
Dak has the 27th least turnover-worthy plays in the NFL.
Got it. Understand. Okay. Still, don't care. There are times where
it's funny that we finally get the matchup and it's like the script is sort of flipped. I'm not saying that Jalen is, leading. I mean,
this is the most ironic thing. He looked slow on Sunday. I remember him taking
knees
off
hurt, man.
His knees definitely hurt. He took off one time, ironically converted it, even though he looked slow. It was like a 3rd and 7, and he took off and got it. They ran a hurry up play on a catch to Devontae Smith, and he just limped to the line. But he's like a running back. Like, he just uses his legs. He wouldn't be successful at the tush push. Well, he couldn't really run, and he threw for 319 and 4 touchdowns. So, and no interceptions. The arm looked pretty good when he couldn't use the legs.
And speaking of the arm, and you mentioned Devontae Smith, obviously A.J. Brown's on a historic tear, right? 6 straight weeks.
Oh, yeah.
125 plus. I was even watching an episode of New Heights with Kelsey, and Travis asked Jason, he's like, are you surprised by this? He's like, no, I'd be more surprised if he doesn't get 130 now. And Travis is like, how the hell do you guys have A.J. Brown?
Yes, that was the best part. It was such a raw reaction. He was like, what the fuck did I have?
And Jason's like, I don't know. Ask Howie and Vrabel. I have no idea, but I'm happy. Now, obviously, I'm terrified of A.J. Brown, but I think the X factor against the Cowboys this week is Devontae Smith. Mm-hmm. And he terrifies me out of the slot with who the Cowboys are going to be putting out there with whether it's Jordan Lewis or whoever it is. I think he's going to eat them alive. I mean, I've seen talks of trying to put Deron Bland on Devontae Smith because he's so used to playing on the slot, and then kind of putting Stephon Gilmore out there on AJ Brown and just see what happens because he's going to get his anyway and try and shut down Devontae Smith. But my fear in that is we kind of saw the blueprint a little bit on how to beat Bland, right, against the Chargers with those double moves that Keenan Allen had. And if Keenan Allen can do that, we know Devontae Smith can do that. So, I mean, it's your only hope is that Deron Bland jumps one like he's been doing all season, takes it to the house. Because I don't know if you saw the tweet from Birdsworth Boys, but CeeDee Lamb has 3 touchdowns to lead the team, and he's tied with Deron Bland for 3 touchdowns.
That is, first of all, is remarkable. But also, the double move thing. At least I can't think of a nasty double move on the Cowboys secondary versus the Eagles in recent memory. So I'm sure you don't have to worry about that happening. We should wear the black uniforms. I don't know what uniforms we're wearing, but we should. Unless we're saving.
I got to tell you, I'm so happy it's not Sunday night.
Well, 4:30 is the sweet spot. Yep. We play the other games Sunday night, though, right?
The other games night. Yeah, of course. It's in Dallas. Of course.
Oh, yeah. Spectacle, man. The winners are
at least it's not on Christmas Eve this year. Again, that was the worst, even though we won.
Now, the game was fun. The day it was on was not.
No, it's just like it's even like Thanksgiving. Here's my hot take. I'm sick of the Cowboys playing on Thanksgiving. Like, I don't want I'm just tired of my entire Thanksgiving being surrounded by the Cowboys and losing to the Broncos.
The Bills?
Yeah. They play the Commanders this year. Definitely going to lose.
Wait, they actually play on Thanksgiving?
The Commanders?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Well, luckily they traded half their defensive line.
Yeah, true.
The secondary, just real quick on it, because I agree with the Devontae Smith thing. I think there will be an attempt to bracket AJ Brown. And I was thinking like, oh yeah, Devontae Smith, probably the X factor because they're going to try to bracket him safety over the top. They don't want it like AJ Brown. And last year they did all these crossers to get the ball out of Jalen Hurts' hands to AJ Brown to kind of mess with Micah Parsons so he couldn't get there. But last week they tried to bracket AJ Brown. He had 2 touchdowns and 130 yards.
Like I said, he's going to get his.
So that could be your plan 100% and just be like, yeah, listen, if somebody else beats us, somebody else beats us. You know, like LeBron back in the day. They're like, the other 4 guys have to beat us. If LeBron scores 50, they're going to lose. That might be the plan where it's like, you know, AJ Brown might just have 130 again, and we'll see how it goes.
If I'm Dan Quinn all week, I have one number up on the whiteboard, 124. Hold them to under 125, boys.
Okay. Yeah, that's fair.
Let's stop the record.
Let's stop the record there. But I do think what you saw last week was it was the best from an execution standpoint. I don't know how to phrase this because they had 2 turnovers within the 5-yard line, but execution wise, they did a good job of distributing the ball. Devontae Smith, even was good as AJ Brown was, Devontae Smith had 6 receptions, 99 yards, and a touchdown. Dallas Goedert was involved. Julio Jones did his job. Touchdown in the red zone. Big body. Like, he was just a good use. And then in the second half, they utilized DeAndre Swift well. So I want that, but again.
Yep.
So we'll see if they do that. So execution standpoint, I think we're getting close.
So I think we have plans for both teams here of how to execute on offense.
Yes. Get it to your best players.
It's not that difficult, guys.
It's honestly not that hard to run an NFL.
It really is not. It's going to happen. It's going to be like a 13-7 game heading into the fourth quarter.
It'll be the last Wentz Dak matchup where it was 17-9 in the fourth quarter. Sidney Jones makes the play on Amari Cooper. No, Sidney Jones makes the play on Michael Gallup on fourth down with the game on the line. Eagles win.
Yeah, because Amari Cooper was too tired to go in the last play of the game.
Yep. Yeah. I will say, because I was thinking of the 2018 matchup where it was just an absolute shootout down in Dallas, the ball off Rasul Douglas off his arm into
Yep.
Amari Cooper's arm in overtime, and what
Overtime.
like a shootout that is. And I was just like, if I'm the Cowboys, I just do that. Just
Yeah.
do that.
Yeah, I just want that because I
Do the thing
think
where you
also
score.
I want to do a little. Let's mark the tape here. Over under 3 tush push conversions in this game for the Eagles.
Under.
Under. Okay.
2.
2.
You know what they're going to break out next? The throw out of the tush push.
Yeah. Which they showed us earlier in the season.
And they tripped.
Yeah. Yeah.
So no one's actually seen it on tape.
Mm-hmm.
This week, they brought out the run to DeAndre Swift, almost like a little wing T action out of that formation. Now comes the throw. This is the week that Goddard gets the ball, or Jack Stoll out of that formation.
I could see they're at like the 3-yard line. It's 3rd and 1. They can still get a first down before they get to 1st and goal. Malata somehow reports eligible. No one pays attention. They run it, and there's Malata just sitting empty in the corner of the end zone.
Oh, that's my dream. I just want to see him like be able to catch or run with the ball. But they never do it because obviously left tackle, pretty important position in the NFL. So they never let him run the ball. But I was like, just once, you know.
But how demoralizing would that be against the Cowboys? If
yeah, definitely.
Like, that would just be.
Break out all the stops because they had 2 fumbles in the end zone. Pretty much, they fumbled at the 1-yard line and the 3-yard line, and one of those was out of the tush push formation.
Can we talk about that with Kenny Gainwell's on his phone at halftime?
Yeah, dumb. Well, for that part is dumb. Him having the ball at the 3-yard line, also dumb. Like, if I have one complaint about the Eagles, I have a lot less complaints than other people do. It's just like they don't do situational awareness very well this year. Why is Kenny Gainwell the red zone back this year? It's not his role. He's such a good pass catcher. You know, like between the 20s, put him in. Make him the change of pace back. Bring him in on 3rd downs. You have DeAndre Swift, who literally ran over a guy last week in the red zone. You have Boston Scott, who's super effective in the red zone because no one can see him because he's the size of Bobby the Elf.
Yep.
And 3, you have AJ Brown. You can throw it. On that play that Gainwell fumbled, it was a throw.
You also have Dallas Goedert.
What's that?
You also have Dallas Goedert.
You also have Dallas Goedert. Oh, also, you have a future Hall of Famer in Julio Jones who made a career of just being fucking bigger than everybody and catching the ball. So why is Gainwell the option there?
But he has not been a good red zone threat his whole career.
Was he not a good red zone threat, or was Matt Ryan not a good red zone threat? Matt Ryan was a good red zone threat the opposite way. He was threatening to them to be able to score.
He should have ended your Super Bowl run 3 times.
He did not. Throwing to Julio Jones.
The play that still haunts me of that entire run was that goddamn ball off the knee. That went back.
I think about that like once a week.
When I saw that, I go, they're going to win the goddamn Super Bowl this year.
Yep. Oh, man. It was almost like the team felt that way, too. Like, Bat converted. They scored a field goal going into halftime in that game, and they took off from then on out. And they won a Super Bowl. All I needed was one ball off the knee. But, yeah, so red zone-wise, Julio Jones, big. A.J. Brown, best receiver in football right now. DeAndre Swift, good at football, very strong. Boston Scott, very small, makes him good at football. Kenny Gainwell, sending DMs on Instagram. Let's figure this red zone thing out. Why is he the red zone back? It just makes
that difficult again.
And in that play, it made me even more mad because it was like they had no answer for AJ Brown. It was 1st and goal from the 3. He had just converted a reception to get them down to the 3. He had one-on-one coverage at the top. Throw it to him. If it doesn't work, you still have 3 chances to go back to this Gainwell play. It really. You needed another yard to start your tush push extravaganza. Why? What are we doing? So it just was just like situational awareness needs to be better for this team because they're good. And people have complaints, but they are so good. It's just these 1 or 2 situational awareness plays that always throws them off.
Yep. It's and we have similar issues in terms of the red zone. Both these teams this year.
There's gonna be a field goal blast.
Yeah, but again, the Cowboys are coming off their best, I think, all-around game in terms of offense, defense, special teams. Special teams had the block punt that turned into I don't think I've seen a sequence of plays like that in so long where it was a Micah Parsons sack on third down to end the drive. Next play was a blocked punt that went for a safety. Then the free kick, Turpin brought it down to the 15-yard line. And then the next play, well, then there was one play in between. But then Dak threw a touchdown to CeeDee Lamb in the end zone. I'm like, you can't be better than that.
It cannot. And also, this is huge. The Cowboys have been phenomenal on special teams so far this year. Also, a ton of like forced turnovers. It's not just forcing turnovers, it's pick sixes, it's returns. But like you mentioned, Deron Bland having 3 touchdowns, as many as CeeDee Lamb this year. Could be the difference between, because if you look at these rosters, I feel like playmaking skill position wise, the Eagles are. This is for all the people watching on YouTube, but my hand is above my other hand. That the Eagles are a little bit higher.
Mm-hmm.
The way to make up that ground is a big special teams play or a strip sack
of turnovers.
Yep. So, and they've been so good at that this year that you could see that happening again. And you could look at the box score. You're sitting there at 9:00 on your Sunday in the Philadelphia area saying, all right, we had more rushing yards. We had more passing yards. I love Jalen's stat line. A.J. Brown got his. How the hell did we lose this game? And it'll be like that one strip sack, that one blocked kick, that one blocked punt.
That Kenny Gainwell fumble that Micah Parsons picked up and brought 65 to the house. Yeah.
Exactly. A blocked or a punt that got shanked because our punting situation, you never really know. It gets taken back to the 30. The Cowboys are already in fielding and scoring position. So it's just, I feel like there's going to be 1 or 2 plays like that. If I'm the Eagles, you avoid that, you're good. Because you look at it, they scored 38 and fumbled twice in the 5-yard line. They never got stopped the entire game until they stopped themselves. Don't stop yourself.
Can you say football? What do we say with football? Can you say touchdown? What do you do? Touchdown. Touchdown.
Great point, Emma. I have one more Eagles thing because everyone should be excited, and I feel like there's been some negativity towards the team. I think Mark Schlereth created a lot of it by saying that Eagles fans were upset with him. They are 7-1. Last year, what happened where they blew everybody out and they're wearing Batman masks and the starters are pulled in the 4th quarter against the Steelers, that is an outlier. That does not happen in the NFL. I can think of a few other occasions it did, like 2007 Patriots, Brady Moss, the first year of Peyton Manning with the Broncos, and then last year with the Eagles. This is not how the NFL works. It's not college. You don't show up and beat a team 56-7 every week. There's parity. And this year, there's extreme parity. You look at even the best teams in the league. The Ravens, their offense looked anemic against the Steelers, came back a week later, and dog walked a Lions team that right now sits at number 2 in the NFC. There's parity all over the league. From week to week, it is always going to change. They're going to play close games. We were spoiled last year, but there was an outlier. You don't show up and beat teams like that. Ask the Chiefs who won the Super Bowl and lost to the Broncos last week, and their offense looked terrible. It happens to everybody. The Eagles are 7-1, and that's all that matters. They are consistent. They are 7-1. Who would you rather be if you're an Eagles fan with complaints? Who would you rather be right now? The 49ers, who just lost 3 straight? Would you rather be the Cowboys, who just lost that 49ers team that lost 3 straight? Would you like to be the Seahawks, the Lions, who already have 2 losses? Would you like to be the Chiefs, who just lost to the Broncos? Like, who would you rather be in the league if not the Eagles? They have a chance before the bye week to go 8-1, beat the Cowboys, have a 2.5 game lead in the division, and be the 1 seed in the conference heading into your week 10 bye. If I would have told you this in May before Memorial Day, every single person in this city would have signed up for that. That's all that matters. It's all that matters.
And if you are the Dallas Cowboys, you have the opportunity to slow down the freight train heading into their bye. Try and derail it so slightly.
I feel like the bye week makes this game so key, right? Because it just feels like it sets the tone for the rest of the season. Mm-hmm. If the Eagles win, it's like, all right, well, the Cowboys, I just dropped my microphone. But if the Cowboys lose this game, then they're almost playing for like the wild card halfway through the season. But if they win this game, it puts such a bad taste in the mouth of the Eagles, like going into the bye. They have the rest of the gauntlet coming up. They come out of the bye against the Chiefs, and it's like, all right, there's some serious life. There's some serious
Yep.
legs to this Cowboy season. And if you're the Eagles, you're like, all right, you're 7-2, but really you could have been 9-0, whatever, headed into the bye. And it just feels different. So you could talk must wins, can't lose, whatever it may be with this game. Like the Cowboys winning this game creates serious drama within the division.
Especially because of what happened early in the season for the Cowboys, right? The 49ers lost. Okay, that they're their kryptonite right now, right? They can't. That's the bully in the play yard that every time they walk onto the playground, they get it's Debo, right? If you ever watch Friday,
Yes.
the Debo is the
Literally.
49ers, and the Cowboys are the dude with the my mama gave me that chain. That's the Cowboys, okay? But so take that loss aside. They also should only have one loss, right? Because I was seeing even this week during the trade deadline, like Joshua Dobbs traded to the Vikings coming off the from Arizona, and then they showed Arizona the records 1-6. I'm like, huh, who'd they beat? I'm like, oh yeah,
I do forget that happened.
that's right. That was us. So to win this game, right, to try and keep pace, because you should have already had even more pace with the Eagles right now, I think is huge, especially sending them into the bye, then having to play the Bills, the Chiefs, the 49ers, and you again. You need to kind of disrail the freight train as much as possible heading into that gauntlet.
You know how the NBA is doing like their in-season tournament right
I
now?
just heard about this yesterday. I was like, what is this?
Yeah, I keep forgetting that they're going to do it. But you know how they're like doing an in-season tournament and everybody gets a trophy and the court is different and all these different
Are
things.
they
And
just pausing the regular season?
yeah, they're pausing the regular season. They're doing an in-season tournament. You get a trophy, you get a new court, you get all these things. That kind of feels like this game. It's like an in-season championship
Yeah.
where if you want to know how the rest of the season is going to go, it's probably going to go down and come down to the outcome of this game.
And I understand this is I love like college rivalries, right? They have like USC Notre Dame. They have the Jewel Shillelagh, right? And it stays at the campus who won that. It'd be funny if like the Cowboys and the Eagles had something where it was like whoever won that game got to keep like the whatever it is, the John.
The axe of Paul Bunyan with
Yeah.
with Minnesota and
What is
Wisconsin.
the
Yeah.
really ugly? There's that really ugly trophy. I think what's that? The Michigan State and Penn State or something that have.
Oh
It's
yeah.
just, it'd be funny if there was some. Maybe we should make one for ourselves and we have it in the background.
We should. I think UConn did that. They made a fake rivalry with USF or UCF, and they just like made their own trophy and everything like that. They just
Well,
created a fake
didn't
rivalry.
UCF just like declare themselves national championships and
They
print
also did
t-shirts
that
and
too.
stuff?
They went undefeated and threw a parade. But I'm going to do that in the bye week. I didn't get a Phillies parade, so if we beat the Cowboys, I'm going to declare the Eagles the first half champions of the NFL. And
Actually, if that happens, Vince, can we film Aiden going down Broad Street in like a parade by himself?
Yes. Oh yeah. I'll get a cigar. We'll make a hat. I'll have a bottle of champagne.
I guarantee you, if you have a sign, first half champs, we could probably get 6 to 7 more people to join while you're mid parade.
I think I can guarantee that I could get a beer thrown to me, even if people don't realize that they am in a parade, like a regular parade would. Just in Philadelphia alone, I think I could get a guy to toss me a beer during a parade route.
And I think you could also get the video on New Heights.
Probably. We could.
Speaking of New Heights, where are we going to be the next 2 days, Aiden?
Oh, we are going to be. I thought you meant physically. I was like, location wise, was I supposed to know? We will be in the same chairs, which threw me off with the question, but we'll be doing 2 shows. We'll be with our guys, RJ Ochoa, Brandon Lee Gouton, SB Nation, covering the Cowboys and Eagles for SB Nation on their show, NFC East Mixtape. They'll be live, and we'll be on that show discussing this game. And then our good friend, Too Much Camber, she has her show going down Friday. We'll be on that as well. So probably covering her from the Cowboys' point of view. I'll be the enemy in there. So that'll be fun. She was great. She was on our show for Hate Week last year. So it's good to be doing her show this year. We're pretty excited for it. We love doing the shows, especially this week of the season, where it's just like you just want to talk about this game nonstop. It just consumes your brain, consumes your mind. You're so excited for it. So we're really excited to be doing those 2 shows after this.
Yeah, I'm pumped. And we're going to, I think, be putting out a couple more YouTube shorts before the game comes up on Sunday. So make sure if you are not subscribe to our YouTube page, if you're listening right now on Spotify or Apple or Google or MySpace, make sure you head over to YouTube, smash that subscribe button so you don't miss anything in terms of our YouTube shorts because they always pop off. And speaking of places to follow us, TikTok. It's time.
It's
I
time.
believe for the TikTok power rankings, which
Special
mine
guest.
would be 3.
Oh, we're back.
Yes.
Look at this. Wow.
Let's rank some fucking teams, boys.
Let's do it.
Rank some
Welcome
kickers.
back, Vince.
It's good to be back. Feels good to be home in the new office now, not crammed in a corner of my studio apartment, which is nice.
With a cat trying to commit suicide.
I was going to
off
say
the
there's no
windowsill.
suicide attempts from a cat.
Yeah, no pets here for now.
Does
Well-
that say "Go Birds" written on the window thing?
It's a whiteboard. Yeah, I had to decorate.
Oh, the whiteboard. Oh, it looks like
I
a
had to
fold-out.
decorate your
All right.
business park.
Yeah,
Love it.
I'll be decorated by next week. My new digs are coming together.
Maybe I'll figure out my camera. Probably not.
be a real shame if we had a boys' night at one of your places and I set up your studio for you. That'd be
Come on
so
up.
boring.
Either way, here or there. I would do either one.
We could do a live stream watching the Cowboys Eagles game on Sunday.
I think your wife would murder us. Yes. That was a yes. Probably.
But tell her
But-
it'd be so much fun to pal around with the boys.
Yeah,
Just be
tell her-
in for like 3 hours.
We would. I think we were behaved last time we did a stream there. We had a
Oh, yeah.
good time. Yeah,
Yeah. She was
the
out.
draft, and it worked out pretty well. I got Jalen Carter out of it. So yes, actually, we should do the stream at your house. There's good vibes at that place.
No,
We also got a few 100,000 views out of it.
there's ghosts here. There's
Great
ghosts
vibes. There's goes for you. I'm friends with the ghouls and goblins around that.
Yes, you are.
All right, let's do the TikToks. 5-1. I'll start normal triangle.
Hold on. Turn your light back on. What are you doing?
No, well, I didn't turn it off. It just turned off.
This is staying in. I'm keeping this in.
And we're back.
We're back. All right. 5-1 normal triangle. I realize as I say that there's a whole group of people who don't know what it means
Nope.
for normal triangle, but welcome.
right.
At 5, I have the 49ers. A little bit of struggles for the second coming of Christ and Tom Brady, Brock Purdy. But once they get healthy with Trent Williams and Deebo Samuel, it'll be right there.
5 for me. I also have the 49ers. They added Chase Young. People forget they also have Randy Gregory now. The defensive line is just going to rotate and eat. I hope Brock Purdy falls off the face of the earth, but I'm sure they will figure it out because it's just what they do. Why did I go next?
You do go.
That's what we
next.
always do, right? Yeah, I go last. Because I say
Yeah.
the shocking thing.
Yeah.
I am.
Yeah. Normal
We go.
triangle.
Even I don't remember.
At 5, I have the Philadelphia Eagles. Team 7-1. Not much bad to say about them. They haven't really clicked, on all cylinders yet. So that's kind of why they're bumped down a little bit on this list. But Eagles 7-1. Tush Push is unstoppable. They have both MVPs on their team.
At 4, I have the Ravens. This team is the bane of my existence, but they've been somewhat consistent. And Lamar's never lost to an NFC team. So if they just switch conferences, they'd be number 1.
4 for me, it's the Jacksonville Jaguars, just because I want to put the Jacksonville Jaguars in there because
Yes.
they like to negate other teams from winning.
Negate.
4, I have the Vikings. Without Kirk Cousins, I believe anything is possible for that team.
All right.
At 3, I have the Lions. I don't know if wins over the Raiders should count, but I am really excited that a kid named Aiden's going to get a start as quarterback in the NFL. Living out my dream.
3 for me, the Detroit Lions. Jahmyr Gibbs went absolutely off last week. Jumped into the stands. I thought that guy's wife was just going to run away with Jahmyr Gibbs when she was hugging him. I don't know if everybody saw that. But my guy, Craig Reynolds, shout out. Kutztown has been dominating. They're just a fun team, biting kneecaps.
Number 3, I have the first place Seattle Seahawks. I was told this 49ers team was like a generational all-time good football team that was going to steamroll everybody this year. So to be first place in that division, the Seahawks must be like the best team of all time.
Legion of
Great.
Boom.
At 2, I have the Chiefs. The stats before they lost to the Broncos were insane. They had never beaten Patrick Mahomes before. He had never lost to a team that had more than 2 games under 500. There's a first for everything, I guess, but still, the Chiefs are at 2.
Chiefs at 2 for me as well. I mean, Patrick Mahomes was clearly sick, had the flu game. Guess that just shows he's not Michael Jordan, but they are still a very good football team.
At 2, I have the Chiefs. We're unanimous.
Look at that. Chiefs. At 1, I have the 7-1 Philadelphia Eagles, who have a chance to take a 2.5 game lead in the division and be the 1 seed in the conference headed into their bye week. They scored 38 last week and fumbled the ball twice within the 5-yard line. So they could have had 52.
At 1, I have the Miami I'm just kidding. I have the Philadelphia Eagles. Unfortunately, sitting at 7-1. Tush Push just continues to do what it does almost as consistently as A.J. Brown continues to do what he does. We'll see what happens this week, though.
Unstoppable.
At 1, I have the Dallas Cowboys. This is a fantastic team. Dak's not turning the ball over as much anymore. There's really no excuse for them to lose games. So, number 1, I have the Cowboys.
That would never happen.
Awesome.
Never. Good to be back. That was a solid TikTok power ranking.
We're going to have to do more morning shows so Vince can be around.
Yes.
I'll do every morning show.
Okay. I like that. Let's do it.
I want to say I wanted to do this one today because it's Eagles Cowboys week, but I really just need to test out all this equipment for something we're doing for work. So it's staying up. So I'll do every morning show.
No, big day. That's why Vince is here.
That's why I'm here. Yeah.
There we go.
How quickly they forget that Birds vs. Boys actually launched 15M.
Launched what?
15M. We were the reason.
We were technically the first client.
Mm-hmm.
We never paid.
Nope.
But we were the first client.
None of our first clients paid, so that's on.
Eddie, you get to work.
All right. Well, it was good to be back. I feel like dusted the cobwebs off. I want to do some more of these.
I love that. Love that. Great week to have you back. Great week in general for this podcast. It's always fun when it's Birds vs. Boys on Birds vs. Boys. So, like we said, we'll be back. We'll be doing some YouTube shorts for us. Kevin is in Eskimo mode with his Cowboys hoodie. I've got mine on. New microphone, new cameras.
I'm an
you're
assassin.
in stealth mode.
I'm an assassin.
An assassin.
I'm like, who is Sub-Zero? That's what I'm going to do.
Okay.
I'm taking down the Eagles. I'm going to the game. I'm dressed just like this.
That would actually probably save you. No one would be able to talk to you if you look.
No, I'd probably get shot by a sniper on the roof. Thinking I'm some sort of crazy person.
Oh God. Regardless, great week. Great to be back. We'll be on some other shows, NFC East mixtapes, Too Much Camber. We'll be back on those shows. We'll be back with our own stuff, some YouTube shorts. We will make sure that Kevin stops touching the freaking microphone during the show.
Boys. I didn't touch the microphone until right now. You
bumped it 100 times. If I could reach
over
through
there, I haven't touched it. Literally.
I think Vince was going to reach through and strangle you.
How would I have touched my microphone? It's literally
Go
so I can show you.
Follow us, Birds vs. Boys, everywhere. YouTube. Oh, your light does look good. This has gone off the rails, but it looks good. I like it. Make sure to follow us, Birds vs. Boys, on YouTube. We'll probably be live at some point, halftime, post-game, maybe both. Who knows? TikTok, Birds vs. Boys pod, everywhere you can find it. We'll definitely have some tweets, maybe 1 or 2 during the game, maybe 1, 2, or 200. So make sure to follow us there. And yeah, it'll be live on Apple Podcasts as well if you want to listen. We've got a ton of content coming both on our platform, on other platforms as well. Exciting week, exciting times. When we started the show, both of our teams sucked. Dak was out. I had Carson Wentz as a quarterback. Now we're playing for the division, 7-1, 5-2. This is what the podcast is all about. We're excited to be with you and excited to keep it going.
So what you're saying is we created the rocket ship for the teams. You're welcome.
I was going to say we created Vince's company and we created both of our teams being good in the NFC East.
You're welcome.
You're welcome. You're welcome, Fox.
Chris Hansen here, and I'm going to need you all to take a seat right over there and check out Birds vs. Boys.
I think you're completely right here, and I hate it.
Yep. Hey, idiots. Stop doing dumb things. I got 2 phones.
Upside alert. Upside alert.
I might go insane.
I think you're already there.
There's no hope. Hope is gone.
Hope.
If this was an AFC North podcast, we'd be done in 15 minutes. Bob Hope. I'm going to drink bleach. That is
the team you promised me you were going to be this year!
This is the Consciously Hopeful podcast.
I'll be watching.